y'all, it's Maddie from the Itty Bitty Homestead Committee. I fell asleep editing my cooking video yesterday, so I figured we'd have a nice sit-down chat about something when it comes to our rabbits, you know, something a little fun, kiki kaka. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get better at posting more often here on YouTube now that I'm able to download the app back onto my phone, because I rage deleted TikTok when it went off the app. That was dumb of me, but it's back now, so I'm going to start posting recap videos again, hopefully I'm trying to decide if Monday or Tuesday is the best answer for that, and getting back on schedule with that. And then I have a lot of ideas that I want to film this weekend. I'm trying to get back into a new schedule, so we're ramping up. We're ramping up. I'm feeling better. The depression is lesser. I think that 40-degree day really did something for me, but you're not here to hear me yammer. Today, I figured that we would talk about malocclusion in rabbits, kind of what it is, what causes it, my thoughts and opinions on it. And then we had a really great discussion over on TikTok about it. And I was thinking about expanding upon my thoughts and my ideas, but also a lot of times with TikTok, I yammer, like I am right now, right? And it's so easy for me just to talk to the camera compared to here, where I'm so worried about the long format and editing, to where it's harder for me because I want the videos to be perfect, and instead of being more personal like I am on TikTok, and it's just like talking to a friend and yapping. So I think that I need to find a nice balance, especially when it comes to editing. I have somebody who's helping me with the editing, but also I feel horrible because when it comes down to editing is a skill. It takes time. I feel bad if somebody's just doing that for me and I am not paying them. So for me, it's really difficult, and I want to do a lot of it on my own, just from a standpoint of I can't afford that. So anyway, I'm yammering. Let's talk about malocclusion, and let's just hop right into it. So what is malocclusion? So malocclusion in rabbits is just the misaligning of their teeth. It can happen both in the front and in the back of the rabbit's mouth. And because a rabbit's teeth continuously grow, they don't wear appropriately when the rabbit has malocclusion, and it can create a lot of issues both in the front and in the back. So in the front, when we see a misaligning of teeth, they start growing into the rabbit's gums on the opposite side and can curl around in the mouth. And in the back of the rabbit's mouth, it can cause what are called bone spurs, which are just sharp, jagged areas that go into the tongue and the cheeks. And what can happen is, because it is so painful, of course, you start getting ulcers and abscesses from the rubbing and the stabbing, but also it hurts for the rabbit to eat. So they don't eat like they should, because again, the teeth aren't grinding like they should. So the animal slowly starves to death. Now, when it comes to malocclusion, there are a couple of ways a rabbit can get it. The most common one is genetics. So rabbits who have misaligned teeth are bred, causing their offspring to have it, or they can have a recessive gene that causes their offspring to have the misalignment of teeth. The other way for malocclusion to happen is through injury. And most often we see that when rabbits start pulling on the bars, especially if they're stressed or during feeding time. I just had a rabbit a few months ago, Element, if y'all remember him, who decided that I went to go pull open the cage, and he was so excited for breakfast that he latched onto the bar and it caught his mouth funny and he knocked a tooth out. So he has malocclusion. I still have him around. I've been watching his teeth. They seem to have set properly, but we'll see how that goes. I'm only planning on keeping him for a breeding season because of it, just because I can't see the back of his mouth. Because I really like him. He does really good in the show. But again, I digress. But yeah, so injury can cause it from them pulling on the bars, or I've seen it also happen where a judge has dropped a rabbit off the table and they've knocked their teeth in as well on accident. So those are the two things that can cause malocclusion. Now, can you fix malocclusion? If you have a pet rabbit, is that possible? Yes, it is. And the first video we are going to put up from TikTok, we did talk about ways to fix it. Now, depending on the different kinds of malocclusion, Malocclusion, you can either get nail clippers or bolt cutters and you can cut the front teeth. Normally you want to do it down to the gums. Now, and then you also like Dremel it down to get rid of those sharp ends. That's something that you need to do monthly for the rest of the animal's life if it is a pet. Now, when it comes to the back teeth, the molars, you have to Dremel them down. You can't just nip them down because it'll cause fractures in the molar. And if those fractures go down to the root of the tooth, it can cause things like abscesses. So in order to get those kind of Dremel down, you do have to put the rabbit under anesthesia. Now, if you are new to my channel or you are just new to conversations about rabbits under anesthesia, rabbits are very delicate when it comes to anesthesia, both during surgeries and after surgeries. For one, rabbits just don't do well under it just because of how their lungs are, and they have a higher rate of death compared to a lot of animals like cats and dogs. But also when they come out of surgery, anesthesia, pain meds, they slow down the GI tract. And because rabbits are already they're my mind just went blank. Basically, they're more likely to get something called GI stasis, which is where the gut stops. And if your gut stops in your rabbit, it's a dead rabbit. So because of those things, it causes more issues after surgery, and you see a higher rate of death in surgery. And then also in this video coming up, the biggest problem is going to be the cost of having to have that rabbit put under. You'll see that the person in the video was quoted $1,200 for that to happen. And remember, this is something that would need to be done continuously throughout the rabbit's life. So even if we were pushing it to the last second possible, you're looking at Dremeling those animals' teeth down at least once a year in most cases. So I am going to go throw up that video. You can go watch it, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So before I give you my answer, I want to emphasize to anyone watching this video that this is probably an opinion on a pet rabbit, okay? So we're not talking about breeding, we're not talking about eating. This is to have an open and honest discussion, and we can have a discussion on genetics, but do not tell this person to eat their pet. Y'all need to behave. Now, do I think it is reasonable for you to spend $1,500 to trim your rabbit's teeth? Especially when it's the front incisors. Absolutely not. Especially when you consider this is something you can actually do while the rabbit is awake. It doesn't need anesthesia. Normally what they'll do is they will trim and then they will grind it down. And then on the back incisors, it could be a little different. Normally they do like a grinding thing. To trim that animal's teeth for $1,500 is absolutely ridiculous, especially considering all you have to do is it takes two people normally. You have one person hold the rabbit's mouth open while the other trims. This is something in theory you could do if you were comfortable with it. If you're not comfortable with it, that's completely understandable. I, as a breeder, do not breed anything that has malocclusion. However, I have seen in multiple rabbit groups people who do, or people who are in no vet rabbit groups that trim their rabbit's teeth. The biggest thing is you need good nippers. Something that is strong and sharp that you can cut, and again, a grinder to help it sand down. Now, something to keep in mind, especially if they want to do this for $1,500, maybe the problem will correct itself with time as they continue to grind, but odds are it's not going to. Are you willing to spend $1,500, let's say a year, to get this rabbit's teeth trimmed for malocclusion? And understand if there's malocclusion in the front, there's probably malocclusion in the back, which is going to cause spurs in the cheek. After a while, you'll probably have to get them ground down as well. And as time continues on, this animal is going to be in a lot of pain. A lot of times with those spurs in the mouth, it is exacerbated by hay. And because of this condition, eventually your rabbit is going to start losing condition and starving. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to tag a couple breeder friends, vet techs, that kind of thing, to give their opinion as well. And understand, again, I'm not trying to discourage you from anything. Do what you think is right. But understand this is management. This is not going to be a forever fix, and this is something you're going to be dealing with when it comes to this animal for their entire life. And also, I would like to make a point, because of how severe this kind of thing can be and how much it can kind of mess with your rabbit, both in condition, pain, that kind of thing. This is why ethical breeders do hard cull for issues like this and don't continue them down the line. This baby of yours is 6 months. If this rabbit lives, 5, 6 years, it is something you are going to have to continue to manage. The first video in question, and I tagged a couple of vets, vet techs, animal specialists that work within vet clinics that specialize in rabbits, as well as a bunch of breeders who gave advice to the person of kind of what to do. And really, I still agree with my idea of $1,200 is an insane amount to spend on a continued problem, especially in this day and age with the economy. Maybe that makes me cold and heartless. I get it, but that's really my opinion on it. Now, Domino, who is a specialty vet tech when it comes to rabbits, she's also an ARBA judge and a rabbit breeder, also kind of chimed in, because originally it sounded like the poster was only dealing with the front teeth and not the back teeth. She's the one who pointed out that the reason why she was probably quoted $1,200 was because of the fact that it's probably also maloccluded and impacted in the back, which means the animal would need to get x-rays, anesthesia, and dremeling down, which is why the trimming would be expensive. Another commenter said that their vet will actually trim down their pet rabbit's teeth in the front for free. They just want to do it in clinic upon their appointments, just in case something goes wrong and there is an injury to the tooth where they need to stop bleeding, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I am not anti-vet by any means. I think the veterinary field is spectacular. I do think, though, that there are times where we need to have a conversation about how much things cost, and if you should shop around for a different veterinarian who may be able to give you a better price. Maybe they specialize in that field and therefore they do it more often and it's less expensive. So I do think these kind of conversations are important when it comes to our animals. But what the owner said is they were buying some nippers that we use for trimming rabbits' nails, and she is going to get a friend to help her do it with them under veterinary care to, just in case anything happens the first time. And they're going to watch the condition of the animal over time to see if it's just going to be the front teeth or the back teeth. Now, the next video I'm going to put up is going to be a conversation about what it looks like for malocclusion to happen. In that, I'm going to show a video of bone spurs in the back of the mouth. And then my one friend, she put up a video after or before that of what a maloccluded skull looked like. And what I'll do is, because I didn't save that video, I will go ahead and I will put the picture of that skull at the end of the next clip. So let's hop into that. If a doe keeps producing babies with malocclusion, do you get a new doe? How is it bred out of lines? And before I answer this question, I have a picture I wanted to show because Amanda Neal brought it up in her previous video she tagged me in, of what malocclusion looks like in the molars of a live rabbit and what it does to the cheeks. So here is the inside of a rabbit's mouth. So towards this side, this is the tongue, and towards that side, that is the cheek of the animal. Now, if you look where the little red box is, that is a spur. Now, these spurs can face the cheeks, they can face the tongue, and you can see it's extremely sharp. And what it does is every time the rabbit chews or goes to eat something, it stabs that area and creates opened wounds. And then, of course, if you look at Amanda's video, she has a really cool rabbit skull. I'll tag her down in the bottom so you can go look. That shows really bad malocclusion in the front. But now that you saw that, how do we breed it out of lines? In theory, and this is not what I do, in theory, you breed anything out of lines by culling the undesirable trait, by not breeding it, or just completely hard culling the animal from the program. There's a reason why we say breed the best and eat the rest. Now, that being said, if I have a line that produces malocclusions with babies, I'll do a test breeding to kind of see where it's coming from, and I'll cull the entire line. So in your example here, you have a doe that keeps producing babies with malocclusion. I would eat the mom and all of the babies. and therefore I would get a new animal. Malocclusion is extremely genetic, it's extremely painful, it causes a whole bunch of issues, and rabbits with good genetics don't have malocclusion. So personally, in your situation, I would just get a new animal. Beyond pets, right? Beyond talking about somebody's loved animal where they want to keep it around. What do we do about malocclusion in rabbit breeding? Now, if it's an injury, of course, trim the teeth down. You can still use that animal for breeding. Keep an eye on the animal's condition as they get older. That's always an answer if it is an injury. However, if it is genetic malocclusion, which happens unfortunately in a lot of animals because of backyard breeding, it's a cull. And not only is it a cull for me, I do not breed anything with malocclusion. I cull entire lines for something like that because for whatever reason, maloccluded teeth are heavily, heavily genetic in that it'll keep popping up, keep popping up, keep popping up. So the best option for you is to cull out the line and then try again. Now, I know that a lot of people are not in that situation. There's always the option of trying to breed it out of your line, just like you would any kind of genetic factor that you don't like. But my friend Amanda did point out that when it comes to some genetic anomalies, it is not fair to the animal to breed them out, in that bone spurs are extremely painful in rabbits' mouths, and it's just not fair for an animal to suffer for you to try to breed it out. And sometimes we got to take a lick as a breeder and just do what's best for the animal. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. When it comes to malocclusion, it's not something you want. And then also there's the conversation of if you are buying, this is why it's so important to buy from ethical breeders. Be that you are picking up a pet rabbit or rabbits to show and to breed. The more ethically bred an animal is and the better health that is in, the better it is going to be as your pet. If we have two animals, both the same breed, the one that has all these health issues that is causing pain to the animal as well as pain to your pocketbook is always going to be the harder option compared to an ethically bred animal. And that's why you won't see ethically bred animals in shelters. It's always these genetic nightmares that are in shelters. Because what backyard breeders will do is they'll just breed whatever for money, and if the animal cannot be kept by its owner, they won't take it back. Ethical breeders who breed good stock, well-bred stock, if the owner comes up to them and says, hey, I can no longer keep this animal, they make sure it doesn't end up in the shelter. So when you are looking for rabbits, again, as pets, as breeders, it is so important to buy from ethical breeders. Yeah, that's all I have for y'all today. Again, I'm gonna try to get that cooking video up sooner. I am back, baby. I am back on schedule. I am trying so hard to get over these lovely winter blues, and just the big thing is just scheduling and getting used to this new job I'm doing and everything. So you go stressed, but it's okay. But what do we think? Do we like this setup? Do we like the chit-chatty videos? Again, I'm doing the more edited videos as well, but I really do enjoy this style more, just because, again, it feels like we're talking like friends. We're just, you know, yapping back and forth. It's fun. This is why I like TikTok a lot, is because it's just me yapping and talking to people in the comments and enjoying myself. So what do we think? As always, thank y'all so much for watching. And if you have gotten this far into the video, insert a Christmas tree emoji, like the little pine tree emojis. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.